Oh, you haven't seen this yet. The guest list for the G7 summit starting next week is absolutely insane. I think Carney might take off his mask and you might find he really is Lord Littlefinger from Game of Thrones. I think he fancies himself a bit of a puppet master. It is absolutely insane. So you've got the traditional G7 countries in there. That's Canada, the United States, Italy, France, United Kingdom, Germany, and Japan. Obviously, there's been criticism of the fact that Carney invited Donald Trump to the G7, especially when you consider that Trump still thinks Canada should become the 51st state.
I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem. But I think it would really be a wonderful marriage because it's two places that get along very well. They like each other a lot.
Well, if I may, as you know from real estate, there are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. And we have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security. And my government is committed for a step change in our investment in Canadian security and our partnership. And I'll say this as well, that the president has revitalized international security, revitalized NATO, and us playing our full weight in NATO, and that will be part of it.
And they have, I must say, Canada is stepping up the military participation because Mark knew, they were low and now they're stepping it up. And that's a very important thing. But never say never. Never say never.
To be fair, I wouldn't put it past Trump to actually say that while he is at the G7 summit here in Canada. Like, I could just see the headline right now. Trump owns Canada. Tell me you don't think Trump could say that on Canadian soil. Just tell me you don't see it right now. You don't see that happening. Anyways, outside the traditional G7 countries, Carney has also invited Australia, Brazil, India, Indonesia, Mexico, South Korea, South Africa, Ukraine, and the United Arab Emirates. Carney actually invited the Saudi Crown Prince, Mohammed bin Salman, as well, although it looks like the Crown Prince has rejected the invite. To be fair, the Crown Prince was invited to the G7 in Italy last year. He declined going to Italy as well. So this isn't out of pattern to invite the Saudi Arabia Crown Prince to the G7. They're important, not just for economic reasons, but also for geopolitical reasons as well. But the fact that Carney invited him is actually kind of interesting. You might recall that after the murder of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi at a Saudi consulate in Turkey, the U.S. accused the Saudi Crown Prince of approving the killing of Jamal Khashoggi. Saudi Arabia has denied the findings, obviously, and Canada has sanctioned over a dozen Saudi Arabian nationals linked to Khashoggi's murders. All of that water under the bridge right now, sort of. Canada and Saudi Arabia began trying to normalize relations in 2023 by welcoming new ambassadors to each other's capitals. Saudi Arabia's national airline also resumed flights to Canada after a 5-year suspension. Now, speaking of murders, Carney invited India's prime minister as well. And that decision has been met with a lot of criticism by Sikh Canadians who feel that that invitation is very insensitive and is a blatant betrayal. It is worse because unlike Mohammed bin Salman, Narendra Modi is actually coming to the G7 summit. But I've got to say, the Sikhs have every reason to be concerned here. Violence against Sikh Indians has been exported to Canada over the last few years. The RCMP obtained evidence linking agents of the Indian government to homicides and other acts of violence in Canada. These crimes within Canada targeted opponents of the Narendra Modi government. People like Sikh activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar, who was shot dead in 2023 in Surrey, British Columbia. Obviously, the Indian government has denied all of this, right? But yeah, he's also on the invite list, Narendra Modi. Mexico is also on the guest list, and right now, they don't seem to like Canada very much. It's not like we were besties before, but yeah, Mexico's a little annoyed by Canada's approach to the trade relationship with the U.S. and also the whole fentanyl issue as well. Obviously, Canada has been making the point to the US that less than 1% of the fentanyl that goes into the United States actually comes from Canada. We've also sort of tried to cut Mexico out of trade deals with the US in the past. So now, after things have gone south with the US, Canada has now started trying to make a bilateral deal with Mexico. So yeah, they have not loved Canada's approach at all, right? That's like leaving your girlfriend to go after Margot Robbie and finding out that Margot Robbie has a very bad attitude and kind of wants to ruin your economy. yeah, she's not taking you back after all that, right? She's not taking you back. Anyways, that was a bad reference. But the president of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, has not confirmed that she will attend the G7 summit just yet. You know, the other interesting thing about the invite list is the presence of some BRICS nations in there. BRICS is basically a direct competitor to the G7. Brazil, India, South Africa, Indonesia, and the United Arab Emirates are all BRICS nations. I mean, Carney stopped short of inviting Russia and China and Iran. They would have had the whole BRICS nation, all the BRICS nations there. I wonder how close Carney was to actually inviting Russia and China to this thing. It's crazy work. Anyways, let's see how things unfold next week. I think it'll be pretty interesting. Please hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. I'll see you next time.